And yeah, I don't really see the point there. Did you see my holding image there? You'll see
No.
it quickly. I got a holding image for me in NVC. NVC, because he's a screen capture, it doesn't load up, but because it has to reload my webcam, it shows a little. Um,
Calm down. Move
anyway,
on.
right. Ask the audience side Q&A
Yes, we have
whatever.
plenty of questions submitted to us on a nice little ES reality thread that this made so we could plus four. And we've got
Hmm.
plenty of stuff to go through.
Okay, right. Let's rock it. What? Who wants to ask? I'll ask the first one then. All right. Would you be interested in attending the TDM LAN in Belgium from Mouse Guy Needs You? So NVC? I don't know.
Um, if someone was to pay my flights, I would go. But that because it's a community land, isn't it? It's not a big organization like DreamHack. So
It is, isn't it? I thought.
I thought it was a bigger LAN.
Like, it's a Quake Live LAN within a big
oh,
LAN,
is
isn't
it
it?
within a big land?
Or have I misinterpreted it?
You might be right. But I think I thought. I mean, I know it was within a land, but I didn't think it's like
Wait a minute, I
a
can find out.
huge event.
NVC has stipulations anyway. He would like his flight paid for.
And
No,
you have to contact his
s-
agent anyway.
but
No, but
yeah, but
to be fair though, that's not too much to ask, is it? You're not asking for a massive fee
No.
like a superstar shoutcaster would, but
Yeah,
just
it's
you
that
just
you don't command that sort of fee, but just to cover his expenses is fair enough.
I think you'd probably. I don't know. What do you even do on the weekends now, Disrepute?
Goes to Costco and things.
I go to Costco buy Vor.
Have you had
Literally,
the
I've
new?
never met Vor, but I go to like a local shop of his.
It's like 5 minutes from me on my bike.
That's,
You wouldn't believe it, but I've never met him, so
I go to Costco and I get the lime, mint, and green tea iced drink thing. It's
What
really
for?
nice.
Is it Kirkland?
I don't know what it is. I recommend it though.
Anyway,
okay.
but anyway, I don't think I'd be that interested. But would you, Dis?
No, unfortunately not. I think my days are over of lands. Went to a few. Went to a couple of DreamHacks with you, NVC.
Yeah,
Fun.
yeah, it was good.
Went to QuakeCon with what's his name? Zoo. Zoo. That was fun. I think I'm done.
Didn't you go to QuakeCon with him as well?
What did I say? I thought it said QuakeCon.
Oh, did you say DreamHack or Quake? I wasn't listening properly.
QuakeCon. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think I've been to enough. It's not really my scene, to be honest. I'm not really like
Anyway, moving on.
a
Thoughts
cool
on the
guy.
Belgian LAN? Is it smart or not to hold? I guess he's asking, is it smart or not to hold it so soon after the Prague LAN had to be cancelled, and that was from FRS.
Is it if it's smart or not? How long is the
Well,
distance?
listen, I'll answer that
All
for
right, go
you.
on.
Whether right, that will be answered by the LAN itself. Does the LAN have a full complement of teams? If so, it was smart to do it. If it doesn't, it wasn't smart. It's as simple as that. Moving on.
Amen.
Okay.
Will Level Up ever return to cover a league properly? That's another question from FRS, and that's directed towards you, Dis, because it'll basically be down to you, I imagine.
The realities is, there's when we did it before, it took up so many hours of our time, and this is where you've really got to respect someone like Zoo. And when you see people being critical of the fact that he wants to take time to do his studies, which I find a bit ridiculous, it just takes up so much time. Realistically, no. I mean, if, for example, matches were fixed on days and they actually turned up on time and it was played within the time, then yeah, possibly you could do it. But the reality is, it just drags out so long. Like some nights you turn up and it'd be like 2 hours of waiting around and then no game. And it's just, what are you going to do? You just cancel your whole life because of that. So realistically,
Yeah, it's not even the scheduled dates, is it? It's about whether the players can turn up on time, and that's something that we've never been able to depend on.
exactly.
Even at
Even at
events.
lands, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah.
Where's Cooler? We don't know. Oh, he's out. Oh wait, Draven's gonna play. Oh wait, no, Cooler's now making a bet with Draven or some kind of deal, so Cooler can play. Yeah, this just doesn't delays everywhere.
I also get home a bit too late, really, for me to cover it most nights. So I don't think we will. I mean, there's the possibility of like doing like a day cup or something like that every now and again. That's a good way of doing things, and we've just got like a fixed day that we spend a few hours to do it. But um, I don't know. NVC, you're more open to covering something, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I've always said, like, Vor's always around, I'm always around if there are things going. And again, it's more a case of it would be nice to have like a specific day, even for me and Vor, just so we know when we have to be around. 'Cause I can't be bothered doing the whole checking IRC, checking this, checking that, finding a game. Like, even with the Nations Cup, I had to keep checking for the games rather than just knowing when to turn up.
Yeah,
So,
me and MEC can probably cover stuff if we know about it, and we do it either on his channel or Level Up channel,
yeah,
whatever. So we can do stuff.
A lot of it's about like our tradition is team games and obviously TDM mainly.
yeah,
And it is a lot harder to arrange for those kind of things. When it's 1v1, obviously it's quite easy, but even then you get cancellations, don't you? Which is a bit ridiculous.
yeah.
You
And
wouldn't.
1v1, there's only 125 FPS these days anyway, and that's just what Zoot does. So.
Yeah.
I think the only reason we ever did 1v1 is because we kind of needed to do 1v1 to do TDM, to actually make it work. And obviously, a lot of people were asking for 1v1 as well. At the time, it was Joe and Too Good, and that was an
Too
awesome
much
time.
1v1. Why the game's dead? That's why everyone's quitting.
I like 1v1. I like streaming 1v1 a bit, but it's just not as interesting, like
I'd touch
tactically
it
as
all
me.
if I could be bothered. It's just I can't really get that enthused about it. I've watched it for like I started watching it. I've seen every single event, and I've seen all the demos of basically every major 1v1 event ever since like 2000. So kind of like it. I like it, but I'm burnt out on it. There's nothing new happening.
Next.
Do you, Dis, and Vor, and also NVC? I didn't list that he was doing the stream at that stage. So enjoy any other games at the moment, and would you consider streaming them at Level Up? From Doom 2 asked that one.
Well, I don't know if I'd stream them. I wouldn't say it's an impossibility, but I play loads of other games. I play Hearthstone, Diablo, Battlefield, Quake sometimes, but not much. That's not another game though. Civilization, Invisible Ink. That's a great new game for anyone who
Invisible
likes
Ink.
XCOM style games, like tactical squad game. That's really good.
I will just jump in.
Oh,
there.
and Left 4 Dead.
I'll jump in there and say I don't play any games, and
You don't like games apart from Quake?
I like
Good, I know.
competition. That's what I like, and I like the sheer sort of sport of Quake. That's why I like it. When you go to games, there's loads of gimmicky things. It just doesn't interest me. Sorry, but I mean, in terms of streaming other games, like I just think we're like we would rather produce like a proper like sporting event kind of thing, or like a show like this, rather than just streaming ourselves playing games. I think it's really, I just can't understand, like, personally, how people watch that. I'm sure they're entertaining. So I couldn't do it because I don't understand it, how it's entertaining. But I don't know. What about you, NVC?
I mean, I play quite a variety. Mainly League of Legends, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I just stream what I play because I'm playing anyway. If people want to watch, people watch. That's just my view on that kind of it. And obviously, if people come into my stream, I'll give them advice
What's
on
your stream?
whatever. Just NVC on Twitch. JUST NVC, that is. But in terms of like competitively, it'd have to be like an arena FPS. It's like I did Shoot Mania for a while. I kind of enjoyed playing Shoot Mania because it was just a relax. I played with Zacubus and just a friend's game, kind of chilled out, and that was fun. And we did the commentary for that as well together. And for a while that was enjoyable. And again, that was kind of arena based. If it was an arena based thing, good, I'd do it.
What about
I
streaming CS:GO then?
I considered it, but like I feel one of the main things I enjoy is commentating a game that I really understand and being able to offer the color aspect and not just the play by play. And let's face it, I might be alright at Counter-Strike, but I'm not like a top player, so I couldn't really give that kind of insight, and that would, I think, frustrate me. I would hate to be play by play, and not only that, but I don't have the voice of like Red Eye or Tosspot to do
Play
it,
by
you know.
play in like esports is so bent anyway. It's so overhyped. It's all shit. I mean, you go and compare it to real sports, and I mean, unless you're talking about South American football commentators, then esports is just so over the top. They like make every moment out to be like the best thing that's ever happened. It's like, nah, it really wasn't.
We don't do that. Yeah,
It's patronising.
Same question from ESDF. How about streaming CS:GO games instead? Like
Well,
Faceit do, don't
like,
they?
I like CS and I watch it now and then, but I would never stream it. I don't know anything about it other than that I watch it and have a loose understanding of, tactics within a game, but no more than that. I wouldn't be able to talk about it.
Okay, move on then. Which team, in your opinion, is the best in history of TDM from Anon? NVC.
Oh God, best in
Don't
history.
spend too long on this. Just
Okay.
give a team.
Definitely Immune. No, I think probably a team like Mio. I think back in the day. And was that even in Quake?
This is
Well,
the
That's Quake
history
3.
of TDM.
and this isn't going all the way back because I wasn't really involved way back when. And even then, when it moved to CPMA and Quake Live, I think the olden teams from OSP, I don't think a lot of them would be able to keep up with today's gameplay. So I'm going to go for a team. I think Mio was probably my favorite team to watch when I started playing, so I'm going to go with that. Whether it's the best or not, I don't know.
Vor then.
I'll go with Ice Climbers in
See, that's
the
way before me.
period just before they lost whichever Euro Cup final it was to Iron.
Yeah.
I'll go that Ice Climbers team. It was Tox, Fox, Reptile, Gopher. I mean, was Gopher in the team that lost to Ice Climbers, or had they replaced
he
him with
was in
Tech?
Scotland at the time, I remember, and he
All
came
right.
back for the final. He didn't have a great game.
But basically,
He had a bad
that
connection.
team at its strongest was the best team, I think. Having said that, I agree with MVC saying about Meal as well. The only thing I'll say is Meal never got to prove themselves against the sort of level of competition that Ice Climbers team had.
That's
That's-
true.
I still think that Meal team possibly could have beaten that IC team. It's just, that's speculation. They never got to prove themselves against the same level of competition.
My best team is Immune. Right, your thoughts about Rafa's performance at QuakeCon from Anon. I'll get in there first. I didn't watch it because I always miss QuakeCon somehow. Even when I was there, some people would say. But yeah, somehow I always miss it. I don't know how I miss the news, and I just every single year I've missed it ever. I think it's because it's on so late as well. But yeah, Rafa's performance. Now I would guess that he's the kind of guy who has to take it seriously in order to compete at the highest level. He is a tactical guy who analyzes other players, and he has to take it seriously. He's not like a natural. I don't know, that sounds kind of derogatory, but it's not really. It's
I know what you're
actually...
trying to say, but I don't think you said it in the right way.
Okay, go on, you say it, Vor.
Well, I think what you're trying to say is it's almost as if, the decline of the game has led to Rafa not taking it as seriously as he would have in previous years. And his game is so dependent, as you said, on the analysing of his opponent and, all things along that lines, rather than the pure, skill-based game of a Cypher or Toxic or someone. And, having dropped off slightly, it put a real dent into his performance levels.
And I just want to add there, that is not actually being critical of him. That's actually highlighting what an intelligent and skillful player he is.
But I still go with him as being the best Quake Live player of all time. I know people will probably say, oh, it's Cypher. Well, I agree, Cypher's right there with him, but for me, Rafa is absolute best. Still has the edge.
What do you think, NVC?
Although saying that, I would still prefer to watch a Cypher game.
Just for the pure LG, like that. I don't know, something about that LG noise. But yeah, I agree with that. I think what people need to realise as well is Rafa put a lot more time, I think, into CTF for that event than 1v1, and I do think that when you do play, because I think Cypher did play CTF, but only decided to do it at the event. And when you put time into like TDM or CDF, the aim style is completely different, and not that has any effect, but I imagine if he just went into that event just focusing entirely on 1v1, he might have come out of it better. But I also know that he probably wouldn't have played 1v1 or attended if he didn't feel like he could have won, because he's obviously spending a lot of time with studying or was planning to or has done. So I don't think he was at his best, but I do think that Rafa probably felt that he was in a position that he could have won that event before it started.
I can't blame any player now for not being at the best. Let's face it, we've gone from 4 or 5 tournaments a year, offline tournaments that is, to one.
And especially for Rafa being American, because I don't know if he came over. He wouldn't have come over to Europe to boot camp for QuakeCon, so he only really got to practice against his American teammates and
Well, that's always been enough in the past.
It's just
I think what's really interesting about if you create Quake into a pro sport, in theory, imagine it was growing. Somebody like Rafa would be probably just become one of the best coaches there is after he retired from playing, because he can actually analyze the game and communicate it when we've seen him casting.
like his commentary, yeah.
Whereas you think someone like Cypher, I mean, obviously he doesn't. Like, he's not.
Well, it's not fair because we don't speak
it's
his
hard to
language.
tell, but you might suggest that his style is so, I don't know, unique and skill based that it'd be quite hard for him to create players that play the same style. That's what I would sort of argue a little bit, but I mean it's really hard to tell, and it's not actually going to happen. So anyway, next question. Which casters duo is the best in Quake history, from Anon? NVC.
I think too.
Bear in mind who you're on with.
Well, I think in terms of 1v1, when you look at what Quake Live was in terms of its competitive environment and the kind of events that those two people did, Too Good and Joe are who we listened to for like a good, I don't know how long before we started casting. Obviously, back in the days before Quake Live, shortly before it is, and stuff like that. So I think that those two for me were definitely the most enjoyable to listen to. I think you two obviously in TDM built up quite a following, and I think for TDM
200 people
definitely.
following. Boom.
But yeah, 1v1 definitely Too Good and Joe by a long shot. I don't think anyone's come close.
It's Too Good and Joe easily. There's no one else is even slightly decent. I include us in that.
Well, I disagree. I'm going to say I remember my favourite ever cast. It was actually the first Face It cast, and it was the combo of Zoot and NVC.
Can you imagine?
Superstar Dream Team. It was brilliant.
Imagine. Before that event, I don't think I'd casted Quake for like a year, and I was like, oh.
I'll just fly over to Italy.
Was it? We had some
No
nice
problem.
Italian wine then. That was nice.
It's a shame I missed out.
You went later, didn't you? You've been
Nope.
over there.
Nope.
Have you not been over there?
Nope.
Oh, you did. Oh, it's QuakeCon. Yeah.
I would actually say, like, in terms of enjoyment, in the past, I always remembered DJ Wheat and Trillion. That was like a really, I don't know, maybe it's just one QuakeCon, but the voices, the contrast, I mean, it was really exciting.
But the voices are so important. I mean, no offense to anyone who's not native English speaking, but unless you have had extensive, amounts of time living in, or, well, yeah, basically you have to have lived in America or the UK.
Or
maybe Australia.
Yeah.
Maybe Australia.
Okay, all right.
Otherwise,
down.
you just don't have a chance.
Yeah, it's difficult.
And American voices are so much better as well than English voices.
True that.
Just smoother. I actually have a preference towards British voices, though, still, but each their own. I would also, though, say that when we first heard Too Good, I remember it specifically. It was a Quake 4 tournament, wasn't it? What was that? World Series of Video Games?
Yeah, and he was.
Maybe it was even the London
did
event.
Some commentary.
And it was just like, what have we been missing
Why is he
out
better
on?
than the actual casters?
I think wasn't it with Slasher, which is quite.
I don't know who it was with.
But seriously, it was like.
I think Slasher's underrated commentator, by the way. I don't necessarily think he's a good commentator as such, but what I always liked about him on streams was no. He
has a lot of insight.
I always loved his knowledge of the players.
It's
and
like
history. Yeah,
like
Thorin's
Thorin.
really interesting.
Yeah, and he knew stuff about the community that other casters wouldn't, and it added a lot.
Actually, look, if we go back to the QuakeCon just happened, I think that's kind of what was missing from it. There was no there was some build-up later on in the tournament, but if you have someone like Slasher there to able to talk up the players and add a bit of backstory, and then obviously you've got like DDK who's involved regularly to talk about what happens throughout the entire recent times, it would have made the event a little bit more almost homely. It just felt a little bit sporadic.
I just remembered who my favourite caster is. Tosspot. That guy.
I like him.
That guy.
I don't like his style necessarily.
No, I think it's spot on. I think he brings
I know
that energy.
he is good. He is good at
He's
what
so
he does. It's just,
good at
it's
it.
not my. I don't like it. It's not the sort of thing I like listening to. But he is good. I know that.
He's really good. Really good. Anyway, okay, we'll move on. I
don't like that hype stuff. I just don't like it.
Will we
Overhyped that is.
will we ever get to see Vor's face instead of a crocodile or a dildo-shaped lava lamp from Alborz?
Probably not. Well, actually, no. It's never say never. It's just, I don't need to plaster my face all over things.
It's too pretty. It would
Well,
make,
it's
make
no
me and
point, it's
Ziggy look like fucking God knows what creatures.
If we ever
From
end
the
up
Blue
at LAN or
Lagoon.
whatever, you'll see me then, obviously, but, there's no
Realise-
guarantee.
If you move Disrepute, you're not in your studio that you created before you stopped streaming.
No, I literally moved house like a year ago. So
Oh,
that's how long it's been since I really streamed. I did stream from here a couple of times, but yeah, that's it.
right. Next question.
Okay, half time being added to UTCTF. What are your thoughts on this? And what
Delays.
could/should be done to make TDM more spectator friendly in fast-paced games? Also, can I just add on to this? Would it be a good thing to add tactical timeouts to TDM in fast-paced games like Quake? And, because it also links, would an in-game coach make games better, worse in a timing-based game? And that's all from Qvist.
Right, I'm going to answer this in reverse order because it's easier for how I want to say it.
Okay.
Okay, an in-game coach in Quake is, I think, unfair because a major part of the skill set is timing, and the coach can just feed you the times. And I know in Quake 3 that's what all the top teams had, but I still don't think it should have been allowed. It just takes away an entire aspect of the game. So
But what I do like from the coach feature is the fact there was multipath.
yeah,
'Cause that would be cool. Right. Anyway. thanks.
But that's my issue with it. I would like to be able to have coaches to be able to talk to the teams about what they should do strategically, etc. But I don't like the fact that coaches then will be just spending their time telling them when is red armor, when is lightning gun, when's rail, and when a mega is, or whatever the major items on the map are. I think that takes a lot away from the personal skill of the players. And as such, I guess you'd have to say you can't have one because of that factor.
Yeah. Well,
And-
yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, in terms of timing, but then I don't think Quake should be a timing game like literally times. Like you should have to time things. I
But
like the
you
whole.
know that's what would happen, coach, because they could give you the exact times because they'd be focused on it the whole time.
Well,
Yeah, and the
that
teams that don't have one as well
that-
would get
No,
hindered.
no. I think there should be a coach. I mean, I remember Deuce talking to us about the coach he had in.
Yeah.
He said yes, he timed everything, but he also told them what to do. He gave them tactics.
But that's
He
two different
coordinated
things.
them. So if you've got a skilled coach, you can do both.
It's not fair, though.
Brilliant. How is it not fair? It's part of the game, isn't it?
It's not. It's not fair
It's part
because
of
like the other
sports.
team doesn't have one or whatever. But I just don't like the idea that you are being fed all the times. That's part of the game. I don't like timing. I'd rather have a coach feeding it. But you have to have a certain level of admiration for the people who are able to time.
Okay, so what about
And it's
CTF?
a major part of Quake.
CTF has basically no times. You've got
Yes,
okay.
it does.
No.
Fucking hell. I can't believe
no.
you said it. You're gonna get
No,
slaughtered,
okay,
and you
okay.
deserve it.
Okay.
I'll slaughter you as well with them all.
Okay, the timing in CTF is about the power up. There's probably like 3 power ups, maybe. You could get a map with 1 though, and then obviously the major armor items. But the weapons spawn
Well,
every
look at
5
maps
seconds.
like CP9, man. It's got a red armor that spawns like every minute or something.
Yeah,
and
that's
a mega
easier
that's
then, isn't
similar,
it?
or 2 minutes.
But that's
but
what I'm
if
saying.
you-
Then
if you
it's
steal
less
away
about
the-
timing.
If you've got a coach, you can like observe the other team, because let's face it, there's probably a way to do that.
Well, okay, if you can't, if you should, well, if you can stop that.
Well, okay.
No,
Maybe.
I think coaches add so much to it, and actually you get a more coordinated, more exciting play. You actually have people
The
calling out
play
tactics.
definitely goes to a higher level with a coach. I'll agree on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's
It's
it,
just
really.
whether or not it takes away from the skill needed to play the game,
Well, it
or
take-
some of the skill.
No. What it does is it takes away some of the multitasking elements. You can focus more readily on execution,
Yeah, I know.
I'm just-
and that's more interesting. At
It
the end
is.
of the
I
day, we're
agree with
watching.
it. I'm torn on it. I could be convinced.
I'd just be worried that the top teams would have coaches and the medium teams wouldn't, and that would just extend it further. That's my only real reluctance from it.
If it was professional, though, you would have a coach, and every team that's
Yeah.
professional would have a coach, and it would be a much
You'd have a
better
coach for
gameplay.
each player,
Yeah.
and then a coach for the 4 coaches.
We'd actually be a coach, unlike some of the pro teams.
And they'd all be
like-
driven to the event in a coach.
But some of the pro teams in other games have coaches that just analyze other games and that's it. Like they don't really get involved
Massage.
in the actual games, whereas this would actually be kind of
Clean
cool.
the boots, yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Really
Timeouts.
unique.
Timeouts as
let's-
well. I'm kind of
timeouts.
split on this because, all right, you can have a timeout to discuss strategy, but I also think, again, part of Quake is the flow of the game, and people have used timeouts over the years to try and disrupt that flow, as a delaying tactic. Kind of like timeouts in basketball. When one team's on fire, the other coach calls a timeout to try and put an end to their rhythm.
I just
lot.
like the pause feature for a spectator, or like the admin to do for crashes. That's all I
Yeah.
really would see.
But then you got people who just fake a crash or whatever, don't you?
Again, I really like the idea of tactical timeouts because I think, from a broadcasting point of view, you get to summarize up to that point.
Yeah,
You
that's
get
a nice
to-
little break.
You get to have a little break and overview of what's going on, what needs to be done, because obviously, like from commentating TDM, you get a bit caught up in the players you're following sometimes, and you miss on the overall action on the map, or like what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Half time in
I like the
UTCTF?
idea of half-time in CTF. Interestingly, I think it could open up things in terms of map design as well, because obviously CTF is about one side versus another side of the map. You could potentially open up the idea of designing maps that aren't completely fair, if you understand what I mean. So like one side has the advantageous side for a half, and then the other side has the advantageous
non-mirrored
side for
maps,
the other half.
basically.
Yeah, exactly. You could do that where the game is split and then you change at half time. I mean, I don't know if that's what they intend, but that's just an idea I thought up. You don't have to necessarily have balanced maps then, and that could be an interesting element. How does one team handle having the advantage for half the game, and how does the other team, cope with having the disadvantage?
Well, that's like if you think like the old Return to Castle Wolfenstein, like stopwatch kind of rounds, isn't it? A little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Because let's face it, if you're attacking first and you set a really good time, it does completely change the way the other team has to approach things. They have to play in a way they might not play if, say, you set a really bad time or you didn't set a time at all.
Okay, do you want to move on, or do you want to answer?
Yeah. Unless NBC wants to add anything more.
No, I'm with that. I just like it would have to be a set half time because I can't be doing with any more delays. 5 minutes maximum,
Yeah,
not
like a
even that.
limited
Maybe
time,
even like
you're right,
90
yeah.
seconds or something small.
What rule set do you think is going to be used in tournaments after the patch in any mod from Mega Man 3?
Well, surely the established tournaments continue to run in the established rule set classic. I don't see that they're going to have any reason to switch. That's not to say that they might not add new tournaments for the new game types, the new gameplay, or other new tournaments don't crop up that use the new gameplay, but I can't see that anything established is going to change.
See, what's interesting is that they made this change now after QuakeCon. I'm really surprised they didn't make it like, I mean, obviously it's time, isn't it? But like, let's say 3 months ago, giving people time to QuakeCon, because I'm wondering what's going to happen next year. What will id Software employ if it was to be the game we've got now?
That's a
as
really
of-
good point. I hadn't
As of
thought
right
that at
now,
all.
it'd be classic, but yeah.
At the one LAN event.
Yeah, realistically, the one LAN event, unless we can sneak Quake Live back into DreamHack or into
Not
anything else.
impossible. I know it's not impossible.
Oh, that's interesting, by the way, going back to the CTF thing. Someone says in chat that Soldier of Fortune 2 CTF was that way, 2 20-minute sides, and there was a weak and a strong side.
Oh yeah, I played Soldier Fortune 2 CTF actually a little bit.
I never played Soldier of
I
Fortune
really enjoyed
online,
that.
but-
That was actually really fun. Yeah.
No, that's interesting that other
Oh.
games have done that.
You know what they're also, again, changing topic, remaking. What was that? Urban Terror. They're doing like a HD version or something. I saw
Urban
was
that.
Terror,
a mod,
that's
wasn't
that
it?
Quake 3 based.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere they're doing a HD version of that. Could be
Interesting.
wrong.
Wasn't it effectively going to be like a CS mod though for Quake? Sort of like similar.
Yeah, but with all the like cool strafe jumping and stuff, I guess.
Was
Kind
it
of
strafe
enemy
jumping?
territory.
Yeah, it has strafe jumping, I'm pretty sure. It
watched
got
it
heavily
national.
developed in the end. It's standalone now, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
I don't know about that, but I remember watching a national.
Or at least
Game.
it's so different now that you can barely tell that it was created from Quake 3.
Yeah. Interesting. Urban Terror is 10-minute CTF, says Harps. I mean, I think 20 minutes too long anyway, but
Yeah,
that's
definitely
not
too
a
long.
question, so let's not go that. Right, here's a question from Shady. With
Shady had all the best questions.
they were
like,
good. Well, yeah, really.
We might need to
thought out.
hire him to
Yeah,
think
Trans is in
of
the chat. Sorry.
ideas.
Okay, right.
It would be Arena
Oh
with
yeah.
trumps. We need all four.
With clan-based competition in Quake Live at an all-time low, if you were to provide regular live content, what other competitive gaming environments would you consider venturing into, if any?
But we sort of talked about this
Yeah.
earlier, but honestly, I wouldn't step into any because there's none that I've competed in to the same level as I have in Quake, so I wouldn't feel that I would know enough about it.
Jedi Knight.
Well, that's true, but Jedi Knight's long dead.
What
And I
about
don't
you?
think there's much demand for similar games to it.
What about you, NVC?
It'd probably have to still any kind of arena FPS game that I enjoy, and any game that I could play on a decent level, I would consider casting. But right now, there's nothing I want to play, so nothing that I really want to cast.
I mean, I wouldn't say if you can move away from like covering it the same way as we do Quake Live, maybe do something on a casual level in games I like, but obviously you've never played at a top level. You know, that could be a possibility maybe, but not to the same extent we've done Quake Live.
Jedi Academy is extremely active still, apparently.
What?
Says FistQL.
Why is the crap one active?
It's the
Should all be
worst.
playing Jedi Knight 1?
Jedi Knight 2, thank you. Okay, let's move on. We've got a couple of questions left. They're both from Shady, actually. Would you consider your primary allegiance to Quake Live as a title or to TDM as a game type?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, our track record would say that it was to TDM, at least me and you did, but I know, I
no.
still consider... What?
What do you mean? In what sense?
Well, that we've always been focused on TDM and we've never really bothered too much about anything else.
But in Quake, so...
Yeah, I guess, but I still look at the different game types almost as different games because really there is interaction, but it's not, you know, necessarily you can play Quake Live as a TDM game only. You never have to touch anything else.
Yeah.
And it's the same way with our coverage. We've never really covered much else.
I think it kind of helps. Like it's like NVC says as well. You want to understand the game in depth. You don't necessarily have to play to a high level, but you have to understand it, which means taking time to learn it properly. So TDM is a game mode we understand. We played at a high level in Quake, so we can communicate that across to the audience in a way that will maybe add something to the game. Whereas if you're talking about maybe Duel, well, I mean, you know, Duel is not that complicated, but I would say if I was going to do Duel regularly, I'd want to put in a fair amount of time before I really did it properly, which just sort of goes to say that, yeah, it's more TDM.
Yeah, I would kind of say there's a bit too much of a demand for pure experts in the community for their commentators and stuff. I don't think you need to be like a top level player or have been even close to a top level player to know the game just as a spectator. You don't have to pretend that you understand what the players are thinking because, you know, unless you get like Cypher and Rafa level commentators, do they really know what the top players are thinking? You know, am I to believe that someone who doesn't really ever get top place finishes at a LAN can really tell me anything about Rafa and Cypher from that point of view?
No, exactly.
I mean, they can sort of tell you what's happening on screen, but most observers of the game can do that if they're pretty switched on.
Ideally, you want somebody who's played at that high level and experienced it, but is also really good at communicating things. Like, I mean,
the communication is more important.
But that's more important, exactly. So you can have
I mean,
somebody.
go and look at football. I mean, a lot of the commentators, the expert commentators, aren't ex-top players. They're ex-decent level players. Just decent.
A lot of them are terrible pundits, though. So
No, I'm not talking about pundits. I'm talking about commentators.
commentators, yeah. Well, yeah, most of the commentators are not really good players at all, are they? So
Well, yeah. I mean, other than say Gary Neville, who I don't think's a good commentator, but he's a good pundit.
I guess the allegiance question doesn't really apply to you, NVC, because you've covered all sorts.
Yeah, in terms of Quake though, like the only thing I would say is when you are transitioning to different game types, it just comes down to what you said. It's like I would say it's mostly TDM for me as well. Like when it comes to Duel, particularly recently, I casted some Face It with DDK, and I had to spend so much time learning the new maps. It was just, and even then, I didn't feel like I knew them, didn't have enough time behind them. So I would say, in an ideal world, my allegiance would be with just TDM within Quake Live, but it would still be Quake Live. So
When did you do that?
what with DDK?
Yeah.
Would have been February, March, April time.
Oh yeah, I thought you meant more recent. No,
Oh,
I
no,
remember
no,
you
no.
doing it then. Yeah.
So what, you went to Italy again?
Oh no, I did it from home.
Okay.
That was when, because
Isn't it-
FACEIT moved
isn't
their
it
offices
London?
Man, you
down.
should
Yeah.
have
They're
milked
in
them for some
London.
cash. They'd have given you a flight. They gave loads of other people flights.
I was know they're in one of the most expensive parts of London, so I don't know what the prices they've
What is
got
it?
there
It's like
like.
Covent Garden or Soho or something like that.
Yeah, something there. So
That is expensive.
You go there regularly, Dis.
Yeah, I do. That's why I'm so poor. Okay. In 2014, do you think that grassroots, I sit at home and casually play streams are a direct indication of a game's community health status? That's again from Shady.
Well,
I
they
don't
probably
really know where he's
are.
going with that.
Well, he's saying, like, you know, you go and look at, say, Hearthstone, League of Legends, or whatever. You've got dozens and dozens and dozens of streamers who aren't pro level, but just, you know, players who stream and playing.
I think there's probably different
Well, no,
ways
you
we
know,
could
like
answer
you,
this.
you stream the same way you sort of stream some games, NBC. So, like, it is a good indicator in a way, but with Quake, it's maybe not, because it's like almost a generational thing.
Yeah.
Quake players aren't really into doing that. So that's just why there isn't any, but it is still a good indicator. If there was a lot of those sorts of had, you know, decent amount of viewers, and it would be obviously a good indicator.
If I had boobs, I'd be on every day, mate, doing that.
Yeah, just sit there, low cut top, now raking it in, raking the donations in.
Yeah.
Were there any more questions that we didn't
No.
put down?
I was going to try and think of something we ask the people listening, and you know they respond, and we talk about it on our next show. But I didn't actually come up with a question.
Well, that was really useful. Very professional. Very
I
professional.
know. I can't think of one now.
Well, why don't you suggest that we ask people what changes to Quake Live they would ideally make? Because everybody says, oh, it's not right, this needs that. But what is the one golden bullet, silver bullet? I don't know, whatever it is, that would make Quake Live build that audience again? Build a massive audience?
Oh
Get
no,
people
I
playing.
can already
Is
tell
there
you
a
what most
silver
people are going
bullet?
to say. If they're going to say matchmaking,
Well, I think you should talk about matchmaking.
no, it's such a myth and such a stupid thing to keep bringing up. It's not going to make a difference. Matchmaking isn't the difference between hundreds of thousands of people playing a game or not. You know, the game is the difference between that. Now, I'm not saying matchmaking's bad by any means, but you know, it's not the saviour.
Well, why?
Because what difference does it make?
Well,
You don't-
hello.
if you-
I start the game, I start playing it. I want to
listen.
play new people. I don't want to play like Yuvor and get
Yeah,
destroyed.
but you need like
It's
that many
bullshit.
people.
People in other games don't care about that.
Yeah, but in other games they've got like this. They go up
No,
through the ranks.
in other games, people like the game. People just don't like Quake anymore. It's just the sad truth. I like Quake. You like. Everyone listening to this probably likes Quake, but it's not. They just don't like the game anymore.
So what? Change it at the heart of it. Make
No,
it,
not
make it
necessarily.
an MMO.
I don't think you need to change everything. It's just it's not in the consciousness anymore.
Just fix matchmaking. I think. There you go.
When I was, you know, getting into games, Quake was the game in terms of FPS. Now it's not. Now it's COD. Now it's BF. Those games don't have proper matchmaking.
Yeah,
Battlefield doesn't have any matchmaking.
I
I
think
go
for
on a
me,
server in Battlefield, and I'm playing against people who can barely hold a mouse. You wouldn't even think they're playing with a mouse. I'm matched with them. I kill them
I
like
think we
10
played
times
some of
a
those
game.
in Quake as well for a few matches over the years in tournaments.
Well, yeah, it's just as I said.
think we had a
Those
few
people are playing
teammates like that.
Battlefield because they like Battlefield, just as you know we got into Quake because we like Quake. The lack of matchmaking didn't bother us. Our matchmaking actually in Quake was active leagues and things when we played in Jolt in the lowest division when we first played the game and worked our way up. That was our matchmaking. People can do things like that still. It's just, you know, the game is suffering. And
Angst UK, matchmaking in CS made CS very easy for me to start playing. There you go.
Yeah, but why did you start playing CS? Surely because you actually wanted to play the game in the first place.
It was the matchmaking.
I think the thing is, I don't think a matchmaking.
What? You don't go and play. I'm not going to go and say, look, I really want to go and play this game because it's got matchmaking, and your friend's like, what's the game?
You
And
might.
it's like, and I'll say to him, what? What do you mean? What's the game? It's got matchmaking.
Yeah, but alright, okay. I'm with
The game needs to be good. That's the thing, and people want to have to want to play the game. Matchmaking's an afterthought.
I go to my
Matchmaking
mate.
just enhances the experience. It's not the experience.
I go to my mate Skinny Johnny, right? I'm like, hey mate, Johnny, let's go play a game, and he's like, but Disrepute. That's my real name.
No, your name's Sevens.
Disrepute. I am very scared of playing game I don't understand because, like, you know, I'll play good players and ting, and it'll be difficult and they'll kill me. No, what do I say? I say, oh yeah, you're probably right. You probably shouldn't play Quake. Or do I say, no, stop. There's matchmaking. Now get in the game. Answer that. You can't, can you? You can't argue with that.
I'd ask him, do you like the game? If he says yes, then I say, all right.
He says, I don't
Enjoy
know
yourself.
unless there's matchmaking.
I just tell him he's an idiot.
We don't want your sorting our game.
Now listen, when we started playing Quake, right, we were willing to get destroyed to learn. I go and play Battlefield day one, even though I've got an amazing aim and game awareness and stuff from Quake. I'm still getting
Good
killed.
looks, muscles, riches.
I'm still getting killed by people who aren't that good. But, you know, in a week or so, I destroy them. I didn't care if they got kills on me that they'd never get a week later when I first started.
I think that not everyone's like us, Vor. I think that's the other thing.
People don't like a challenge.
Some people
That's why they play
just
Candy
wanna...
Crush and give up at level 84.
Yeah.
But if people
Not
aren't
only that,
willing
but
to
I think-
lose,
Like I did.
they
I think
they
it's-
just aren't going to get into any game.
I think
are
it's they're
they?
not. Yeah, I think you've got the people. So there's some people who just play for fun. They don't mind if they win or lose. You got the people like us that will play through the losing to then beating people. But then there's the people that just get angry at life, and it's those people that are probably
you
right now
can't
in
design
the
a
reality
game around
moaning
that.
about the update as well. That want, you know, that feel like we need matchmaking. I think. But I do I think matchmaking would be a good thing, but it's all irrelevant because you need a ridiculously large community for it to work.
Yeah, you do. And I'm not saying matchmaking's bad. All I'm saying is matchmaking isn't the difference between the game having tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of players and having, you know, nearly no players. That's all I'm saying. The game being good and attractive to play is what is important. Because, you know, person gets into their first game, doesn't like the game, they're not going to care that they're being matched up against people who destroy them.
Okay.
You know, that's the more important thing.
Right. Let's see.
And I just don't want people out there to get their hopes up that someday Quake gets matchmaking and they think this is it. This is the moment I've been waiting for all my life. Quake now has matchmaking. Everything's okay. That's not what's gonna happen.
It could. I think there should be matchmaking, personally.
Well, so do I. I was just saying it's not gonna make a difference between how many people play the game or not. It'll just make quality of life better for those who do play it.
It won't attract new people.
No, it won't attract new people.
Okay. Right. I think, well, that's all the questions we did. There was obviously more questions, but some of those we can answer in our next show. I don't know when we can do that. Maybe in a week or so, a couple of weeks. So
Maybe.
just anything you want
Do it
to
tomorrow
add,
if you want.
guys?
Not really. I think it was a good show. Yeah, I think
Well, I
people
had
just
fun.
got to give it time. Only the first part of the update. Maybe there'll be another part as well. Follow up.
Okay, so again, /Level Up TV, all the sites, all that jazz. NVC, what's your details? Why don't you share them?
My Twitter is just NVC, JUSTNVC. Same for Twitch, same for pretty much everything. So yeah, people can follow me on that if they really want to. I do stream sometimes.
What's your Bebo?
God, I wonder if my Bebo's still up. That would be embarrassing.
Everybody Google his name quick. If you can spell it.
Yeah, if you can spell it.
All right, thanks everybody. We're gonna go.
Matchmaking will keep new players playing the game since they have at least some insurance they play against people at their own level. It's not necessarily true. I could
See how stressed he is.
I could link some of the battle logs from my Battlefield account of the games I've played, and you'll see just how badly some people get destroyed in every game. And then you go and look at their profile, and they've been playing for ages, and they continue to play. They don't care that they're getting destroyed if the game is fun for them. Probably. You know, I'm not. Just so people don't try and say out. I'm not saying matchmaking is a bad thing. I'm just saying it's not the be all and end all. It's not going to be the difference between how many people actually play the game or not. It doesn't affect COD. It doesn't affect Battlefield. People don't care about losing if they're enjoying themselves.
Only logging into
It's the gameplay.
Everything.
Anybody else want to wind up Vor with a comment about matchmaking?
All right, that's it. I'm loading up a log now.
All right, let's go. Bye everybody. Thanks. Peace out. All that jazz, stuff and.
All right, listen to this.
Right. Okay. No. Right.
All right. This was on Dawnbreaker, which is like a mostly mid-range map. There's not much long-range action. There's a few vehicles and stuff. And let's have a look at some of the people's scores. All right. Nile_S98. He put in a performance of 1 kill for 23 deaths. Now, tell me, why did he stick around?
He quit the game after that.
He's clearly matched up with people who are about 1,000 times better than him. Quit the game. Guy's rank 32. That's at least 10 hours play. All right, and who else have we got on our list? I can't even read this guy's name, but he's 4 for 14.
That's not
so
so
he's
bad.
not doing too well either. Jimmy Beer 113, 63.
Listen to the names, for they don't know what matchmaking is anyway. You couldn't sell them a game. They probably think they are matched up. They probably think they're doing well because they got 1 kill. That's all they remember in their little heads.
What do you think his accuracy was, Jimmy Beer?
A bad accuracy would be maybe like 25% or something like that.
No, that's actually good for Battlefield.
Oh,
well, he was 13%.
13, okay.
Niall, who I mentioned earlier, he's 14% accuracy and he's still 1 for 23.
What is that? I don't know what the scale is.
It doesn't matter what the scale is. The point is, guy got wrecked, clearly playing with people who are better than him, but he still had fun. He's still playing the game.
It's a casual game, Vor. You can't.
We can't
all
all be Vor 86.
Vor 86 on Battlefield. Add him up. Follow him. Beat him. All right. Thanks, Commander. That'll be enough for tonight. I'm gonna switch off.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. All right. So say goodbye.
See you later, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully be back soon. Bye.